Hello! This is my basic makeup tutorial for times when you're going to be filmed and photographed. The makeup I'm using is by Meron, which is a theatrical makeup company. So its makeup is going to last through heat and activity. I'm starting with a clean face. I have moisturized, but I've only moisturized the areas that actually needed it. No primer or illuminator or anything pigmented, just kind of like a basic moisturizer. The first step is adding a basic foundation, and this is the Meron Celebre HD. It doesn't look like it, but once it melts into your skin, it's almost a perfect color, and it does match my neck and my chest as well, which is very important. Now, I only used as much as I absolutely need. I just don't want redness. It will fill in some small pores, small wrinkles, areas like that, but overall your skin texture will still look like skin. You won't look cakey. It is a buildable coverage, so if you want to add more you can. I use a brush, the end of a brush, to just scoop out small amounts at a time and dab it on. You don't need to use a lot for it to work. I use my fingers to spread it around, because your fingers, as long as they're clean, they're fine, and they have warmth, which helps blend the makeup in. It is oil-based, with like an added pigment, so it works best just on your bare skin, I find. Once it's blended slightly like this, I go on and I use a foundation brush to continue blending it outward toward my hairline, toward my jaw, and this helps spread it thinner. Go right over your eyelids into the inner corners of your eyes like this, and make sure you get all the pores on the side of your nose. Most of my redness is gone. I've still got little areas of redness around my cheeks here, but I'm not too worried. So you can't really tell you're wearing makeup. Okay, the next step, I'm going to start highlighting, and in here I have kind of smudged in some clown white, and it's the Celebre foundation stick, and I'm going to dot that. I just use my fingers to pick some up, and you only need a tiny amount. I'm just going to dot that in areas where I need it, back in there. And I tend to highlight a lot over the bridge of my nose at the top here, and in the inner corners of my eyes, and down onto my cheeks like this, where you would want your cheeks to be nice and full. And I do the inner corners of my eyes here because I have the bridge of my nose stands out quite a lot, and when you flatten this area, it makes your face look a little more open, a little more cartoonish, which is what you need if you're going to be photographed and you are supposed to be a princess, a 2D person, so it works well for cosplay as well. You might not need it because everyone's face is shaped differently, but for mine, my nose does stand out quite a bit, so I need to do this. I add a little streak down my nose and a big circle between my eyebrows here to highlight this center section. It draws all the attention in. Try and pat, don't smear, so you're not smearing the foundation that you already have on. I'm going up over my cheekbones here, and that makes my face look wider through here. I'm wearing contacts at the moment. They are the EOS New Adult Red. They're just my everyday contacts. They're prescription, so I can see, I can drive with them. They're sort of circle lenses, but not. They're not as extreme as some that you can get. You can go up here into where your arch of your eyebrow is, and this helps open up your eyes a bit more. I have a white cake foundation, which is powder, and I have a contouring foundation powder, and they are Star Blend from Meron. Star Blend Cake Makeup. and it's just pure white and brown. And the idea is you use the brown as your contour. So it looks like where you would have a shadow. It's like adding shadows to your face. It's like taking lighting with you everywhere you go. So highlight and low light. And they're highly pigmented, so you don't need a lot for them to work. Very gently pat, pat, pat on some of the white, and we're going to go over the areas that you've already done with your foundation in white. So you just lightly touch, put some more circle there, 2 big circles in the inner corners of your eyes, bring it down into your cheek, and it just reinforces the highlight that's already there. It's a buildable coverage. All of these products are buildable, so you can put them on and they can be very sheer if you want them to be. Blend, 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 and we're going to go on and do some of the low lights. I just gently pick up some of this brown. You don't want a lot, you don't need a lot. And then I actually tap it off and I put some on the back of my hand just to get rid of some of the pigment, because you just don't need a lot. Easiest thing to start with is your cheeks here, and just re-emphasize that. Don't go too low, because everyone wants higher cheekbones than what they have typically. And just brush on 2 streaks. Make sure you go over to your ear, into your hairline, and then you can bring it down a little bit. And at this point, it will just be quite obvious that you've got brown marks. Don't bring it too close to your lips, because then you'll create kind of a beard effect, and you don't want that. I'm going to pick up a little bit more pigment off my hand here and do your nose slimming trick. I don't have a lot of pigment on the brush at all. I'm going to do 2 lines just down the end of my nose, because the bridge of my nose, the middle, the top of my nose doesn't need any definition. It is just the end here. I have a little bit of like a button nose. It becomes kind of 2 triangles either side of your nose. There and there. And then you want to add a little bit so that that line, you don't have a line going right the way down, because that can look kind of strange. You don't want a lot of pigment, you just want a little bit. Next step is I start with my eyes. I'm going to use a softer brush, and it's quite a large, soft eyeshadow brush, and it has to be soft because with this you're picking up a lot of color at once, and you don't need a lot of color when you start with your eyes. You want to start with the lightest layer possible. And I do a wash all over just to kind of begin the contouring process on my eyes. So I start right on my eyelid and just a light layer, and it'll start bringing your eyes into focus. And you want to blend it out towards your temples, up in a big arch, towards your eyebrows. Bring it underneath your eyes and create depth underneath your eyes. Don't go all the way to your inner corner, so close your eyes in. Just start and go kind of halfway along. And you're creating almost a teardrop effect, but you're blending it so well into your temples that you can barely see where it starts and where it begins. Don't take it right up to your eyebrow, just take it like most of the way there into where this crease would be. You can see just a little bit has already created a nice effect. Before I go much further with eye makeup, I'm going to do eyebrows, because that's kind of the base structure of your eye makeup. So I'm going to brush them down. I'm using Eye Cream by Meron, and it's in a grey because my hair has a grey tint to it. It doesn't have any like brown or redness to it, so I don't want to have brown eyebrows. I want to have eyebrows that are just a darker shade of my hair, which at the moment is quite grey. And this is a cream eyeshadow technically, but you can use it however you like. You don't need to use it. You could probably use it as a lipstick. It's highly pigmented. It's fine to use on stage. It can deal with hot lights. And it is a cream. An eye cream, so it's like a creamy eyeshadow. Highly pigmented, so you don't need a lot. I just pick up a little bit at the end of this brush. And then I go back to my hand and I take some of it off. Because it's quite dark. This is an angled, small angled brush. I'm going to scoot in a bit. I go right in and I start by adding the lines that are at the end, my eyebrow here, and it's already had a big effect on my overall makeup look. I'm going to pick up a little bit more pigment, not too much. I'm just using short little strokes. I have a lot of eyebrow hair, even though it is pale, so I don't need to like imitate having little tiny, I don't need to draw on little tiny hairs on my eyebrows. I just need to add kind of a base color. Now I'm going to brush my eyebrows back up. So you can come underneath your eyebrows now. I'm kind of pushing the color in where it needs to be. Fill in that arch a little bit. Kind of brushing my little eyebrow hairs at the same time. Thicken that arch on that side. Make it a little straighter underneath. There we are. Bring that out a little bit. And at this point, because that was a cream eyeshadow, and we've added lots of cream foundation, I'm going to go in and I'm going to use a setting powder. Because from now on we're just going to be using powders. I'm not going to be using any more creams. So this is a setting powder from RCMA. Got a little kabuki brush. There's some powder in the lid here, so I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to dab, dab, dab it on over everything. And I'm pushing it on just little bits at a time. Just pick up a little bit. And you can, at the same time, you're kind of blending in your lowlights that you added earlier. If you haven't added a lot of the contouring, this action here is probably enough to blend it. If you've done quite a lot of contouring, you're going to want to go over with a clean brush and blend it, blend it. I'm going to touch up some areas of redness. I'm going to use this is Pupa, it's just a basic, it's nice and silky, basic flesh colored foundation. Let's go in and touch up the side here. There we go. Let's go in and define our eyes a little more. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this brown, and now that we have a powder over our eyes, it's a bit easier to apply. So I'm using our contouring color, and I'm going to go all over the eyelid, just coming short at the inner corner of the eye. And I'm going to work on creating this teardrop shape underneath a little bit there. Always brushing it out toward the temple. I'm just using a little bit of color at a time to build that up. The more you add, the more smoky and deeper your eyes are going to look. I'll take it a bit further. With contouring, you want your lines to be going up. It creates the look of youthfulness. So don't be doing contouring all the way down here. You want it to be going up from the corner of your eye and up. Same with your cheeks. Don't be bringing it all down here. You want it to be going up. These products that I'm using don't have any shimmer, so they're just matte. If you use a shimmer eyeshadow, it can photograph strangely. You can add loads of like a shimmery dark eyeshadow, but then once it photographs, it obviously catches the light and comes forward again, so you lose some of that depth. And we don't want that. We want it to photograph evenly. So this is a dark gray eyeliner that it's just cheap. It's just from Wilko's. But I like it because I don't have to sharpen it. And I'm going to create a little line under my eyes here that kind of gently flares out. And it's not on your waterline, it's just kind of a little bit away, right where your eyelashes are. You don't need to do it too close to your eye, too close to your waterline. And you can see on the camera, you can't really, it's not really noticeable because it is a gray, it's not a black. You're subtly adding a bit of contour. And it's basically a straight line that goes up and out. I'm just going to do a little bit. The thing with adding eyeliner on your upper eyelashes is it can close your eye in. So I'm going to add a little bit right along the lash line on the outer edge here, and I'm going to blend it. I'm going to add a little bit there. I have really long, thick eyelashes, so I don't add a lot of dark eyeliner on top because my eyelashes are kind of filling in that area anyway. For you, you might want to add a nice, long, thin, dark line. Just make sure it's not too thick because you don't want to lose your eyelid. You don't want to encroach upon that too much. You want to keep your eyes looking open. And to further emphasize the crease of my eye and make my eyes look even bigger and more defined, I'm going to use a black, and this is L'Oreal, so it's nice quality. It's quite silky. And I have this stumpy little tiny brush that is for blending eyeliner, probably, something like that. I'm just going to roll it in there, roll it in the black, tap it off, do that trick with the back of my hand, get rid of some of the pigment. You don't want it to go on and appear black straight away. So this can be a bit tricky. If you look straight in the mirror, you can see where the crease of your eye is. Just kind of want to gently follow that line and pat on. You can go in, you can switch hands, or you can use the same hand and go in from on top there and define that side as well. I'm going to switch hands. And just pat on a line. Try and keep the line really thin. You don't want a lot of the pigment on the brush. Go about halfway in. Don't go all the way to your inner eye. And then you can kind of join it up with that line you created with your eyeliner. You don't want it blending too far, you just gently pat it in. And bring it in a little bit. Tiny bit more pigment. Add a little bit more. And you're going outward, emphasizing that teardrop shape. Don't bring it in too far down. You want to still see a lot of this eyelid. Bring a tiny bit through here. And just picking up very small amounts of pigment at a time. And there we go. I'm going to use a clean brush and just blend that a little bit. very gently, because it can look a little bit patchy. So you just kind of patted it on, bring it in a little bit toward the inner corners of your eye. You can always do with a little bit more white on your inner eye area, so I'm going to use a nice soft large brush, pick up just a little bit of pigment and dot it right there, a little bit of pigment, dot it right there, blend it up a little bit under your eyebrow, blend in with some of the contouring you did there, and just tiny bit bring it down your nose and blend it along the sides. A little bit under your eyes here. Touch more on here. And let's throw some mascara on and see how everything is looking. Kind of clean your lips a little bit, because you probably have some powder and some foundation on your lips. There we are. I use just a cheap mascara, Flirty Eyes, W7. It's not expensive at all. I have hair on there. I use the blobby bit at the end and I kind of push that in a little bit. Brush, and this is our first layer. It's quite a nice mascara, so you can go in and add another layer without getting it too clumpy. Alright, let's add a second coat to this eye. There we are. Let's do a little bit of lip. If I had my green contacts in, this would be my Rapunzel look. Carmex lip balm. I find during parties, I'm talking and I'm shouting and I'm singing so much that putting lip gloss on, it just doesn't last. No matter what type it is, it's just not gonna last. So I'll do lip liner and a little bit of like balm over top for Rapunzel. For Elsa, she wears like a purple lipstick, so I put lots of that on and then I blot it off and then I just kind of leave it, and it will stay for the whole party, especially if it's just like a L'Oreal lipstick. Their lipsticks are quite good.